Have you ever wondered why some people seem to be perpetually lazy while others are constantly on the go? It's a question that's baffled many of us for years. Laziness, it's a concept that's all too familiar. We've all had those days where the couch just seems too comfortable to abandon, or the task at hand seems too daunting to tackle. But why is that? Why do some of us seem to fall victim to this state more often than others? This lethargic state of being, known as laziness, can lead to serious consequences. It can result in decreased productivity, a decline in overall well-being, and even potential health issues. It's not just about missing a deadline or skipping a workout, it's about how this lackadaisical attitude can affect your entire life. However, there's a silver lining. This isn't a life sentence. But what if I told you that laziness is not a life sentence and it's possible to overcome it? Meet John. A few years ago, John could have been described as the epitome of laziness. John was an expert at procrastinating. He was the king of avoiding responsibilities, always finding a way to put off today's tasks for tomorrow. His life was stagnant, like a river that had lost its flow. His dreams and ambitions were buried under a pile of excuses and delays. He was caught in the trap of laziness, and it seemed like there was no escape. But here's the thing about John. He wasn't content with this lifestyle. Deep down, he knew he was meant for more. He knew that his laziness was holding him back from reaching his full potential. So what changed? Well, it started with a moment of self-realization. John looked at himself in the mirror one day and didn't like the person staring back at him. He decided then and there that it was time to break free from the chains of his laziness. First, he set clear goals for himself. He realized that without a destination in mind, he was merely drifting aimlessly. So he outlined what he wanted to achieve in the next year, the next 5 years, and the next decade. Next, he broke down his goals into manageable tasks. Instead of looking at the mountain of work ahead of him, he focused on the next step. This made his goals seem less daunting and more achievable. Finally, he found motivation in his achievements, no matter how small. Every task he completed, every goal he achieved, was a victory over his old self, his lazy self. He celebrated these victories, using them as fuel to keep going, to keep pushing, to keep fighting against his laziness. And guess what? It worked. John transformed his life. He went from being a chronic procrastinator to a motivated achiever. His life, once stagnant, was now full of movement and progress. John's story is proof that it's never too late to change. He transformed his life by overcoming laziness, and you can too. What can we learn from John's journey from laziness to success? John's story gives us a roadmap to overcoming laziness. Recognize that laziness is not just a character trait, it's a problem that can be addressed and overcome. It's like a fog that clouds our path to success. The first step is setting clear and achievable goals. When we know where we're going, we're more likely to get there. These goals don't have to be lofty. They can be as simple as getting up at a certain time or finishing a task within a set deadline. Next, break tasks down into manageable parts. This prevents us from feeling overwhelmed and helps keep our focus sharp. Finally, find motivation in small achievements. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Celebrate these victories. They'll fuel your motivation and make the journey less daunting. Overcoming laziness is not an overnight process. It requires effort, persistence, and a strong desire to change. Are you ready to break free from the chains of laziness? Now that's a question worth pondering over. Let's consider it a challenge that's going to fuel your journey towards a more productive and fulfilling life. Imagine setting a small, achievable goal for yourself for the next week. It could be as simple as waking up half an hour earlier than usual or reading a chapter of a book each day. It doesn't have to be monumental. The idea here is to take that first crucial step towards overcoming the inertia of laziness. This challenge is not about proving something to the world, it's about proving something to yourself. It's about realizing that you have the power to break free from the shackles of laziness, and that you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to. Remember, the first step is always the hardest, but once you start, you'll find that the journey to overcoming laziness and achieving success is